So people who maybe don't have proper diet and maybe beer drinkers, whatever, maybe they'll have less of these very nice ones. They'll have a lot of this interstitial amount. That's how you can judge the health of the bone. Okay? So, but what about the spongy bone? Spongy bone looks like this. They have no look at the spongy bone. They have no blood supply of their own. But that's okay. You may think, how are they getting nourished? So this is your spongy bone, you see? And if they have a higher magnification, you see how there's holes in there? You see that? So here is where you have your bone marrow, right? Your blood. So even though they don't have a central blood vessel, the cells of your spongy bone is always bathed in blood. So no problem with nutrients. They still have access because they are bathed in blood. You see the difference? So they both are not compromised with blood supply. Here, you have it here. And then in the spongy bone, you have it there. It's always bathed in blood. No problem. Now, we're going to look at how we form bone. The way to study how bone is formed, we do that by looking at the parts of a long bone. Here is a typical long bone. You should know the parts of a long bone. This central part is called the diaphysis, and then the ends are called epiphysis. And there are two ends, right? This is proximal epiphysis, the one that's closest to the center, and this is distal epiphysis. And if you notice, in between the proximal and in between the epiphysis and the diaphysis, you see that epiphyseal line. This is also referred to as the metaphysis. You know of the growth plate? The growth plate? That is where you find this one. So this is also called the metaphysis. Okay? By the way, all bones will have this layer of cartilage here called articular cartilage. What is the purpose of the articular cartilage?
Protection.
Huh?
Protection.
Protection and to prevent a pain, right? Friction when you move your joints. Can you imagine if bone is rubbing against bone? Every time you move, it's going to be painful. So for smooth movement, you have that articular cartilage. So how is bone formed? The formation of bone is referred to as ossification. Ossification. Okay? That's how you form bone. And ossification is really just replacing one tissue type with bone tissue. And there are two tissue types that's being replaced. One is membrane. That's why you call it intramembranous ossification. And the other tissue type that's replaced by bone is called cartilage. And the cells of cartilage are called chondrocytes. That's why you call it endochondral ossification. So I want you to look at this slide over here. You see, this is how we all look like in utero. This is the first trimester. So this is your skull. You know when I say membrane, right? Like a candy wrap. You understand membrane, okay? Everybody? So look at the skull is just like a tiny candy wrapper. Oh, the fontanelles, the soft spots, you know that?
That's the sutures.
So in the beginning, it was all soft spot. This one right here. And if you look at this one, these are your long bones. This was all cartilage. I know you know the cartilage. The chewy part of the ends of the long bone, you eat your chicken all the way to the chewy part. So imagine your bones in the beginning to be all chewy. You understand? The chewy cartilage is called hyaline cartilage. So the precursor before it became bone. This was membrane first, and this, all of this, was all hyaline cartilage. Okay? So those are the two precursors. So let's look at what happens. So in the first trimester, right here, in the membrane, right here, there will just be an ossification center. Just one center where what? Where bone cells start different. You remember you have stem cells when you're a baby, right? So what happens here is the stem cells then become bone cells. That's what you mean by an ossification center. They just then become bone cells. Which of the bone cells do you think will start making the bone? The blast, isn't it? So the blast starts showing up and they start wrapping themselves with collagen, then packed with calcium. And that's how bone forms in your skull. And I know that you know that I know that you know that when babies are born, they are born with the soft spots called, very good. It's called fontanelles. Fontanelles, right? So is there a reason for babies to have fontanelles?
Make it for the pelvic.
Yes, so that for easy delivery, number one, and number two, for brain development, to allow brain growth. Your brain grows until about 5 years old. You need to allow that. Have there been people or babies delivered with fused skull? Yes. So that's a surgery. You have to open it up to allow the brain to grow. Otherwise, you're going to have mental problems. Okay? You understand? It's called so you formed your bone in your skull. So first you were membrane, right? Just membrane wrapper. Then what happens? There'll be an ossification center. What's going on in that one center? The bone cells start showing up. Don't ask me why. That's how God designed us. Next, look at here. Our hyaline cartilage. So again, you buy your chicken, go to Safeway. By the way, I gave a list of your names in Safeway, okay? So you better go buy chicken. You have to say, I'm just kidding.
I work for Safeway.
Oh,
She
no.
did. She gave a list to me, and I gave it to my deli. They're looking for you guys.
I'm just kidding. So, initially, look at this as all hyaline cartilage. The chewy parts of the ends of your long bone. So, all hyaline cartilage in utero. Okay? And what happens again? It's the same thing. I'm going to go to this slide over here. Look at this slide. See? That's how our bones look like in the beginning. All chewy, all hyaline cartilage. And within the first trimester, look at another ossification center again. See? Right in the center. What's going on there? The blast start making what? Bone. Right? Calcium. Collagen, then calcium, then it becomes hard bone. Then when we're born, look at birth, look, there's another ossification center. See? What's going on? Bone cells, the osteoblast with collagen and calcium. Okay? So you have bone, bone. And then there's that space. Here is what we call the growth plate. This is hyaline cartilage. You understand so far? Okay? You see how the bone keeps growing, but this cartilage over here, it remains. That's your hyaline cartilage that becomes the articular cartilage. And you already told me what is the importance of that one. Okay? So I go back to this picture over here. This one Hyaline cartilage is made up of cells called chondrocytes. Then you have here your bone cells, the osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoprogenitor. Okay. So, what do you think? To grow is cell division, right? You add. So, as long, do you agree with this statement? As long as you have cartilage cells present, the chondrocytes, as long as there are chondrocytes, you will keep growing. The bone will keep growing. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay? Okay? And that's exactly what's going on, right? As we grow, the growth hormone, you heard of growth hormone. That's the one that tells your bones to grow. Growth hormone. Okay? So, so cell division going on here, cell division going on here. Do you follow? Okay? So because they're same rate, they're able to keep up. I'm growing, 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 growing. When I hit puberty, you hear a growth spurt, right? Now the sex hormones come into play. What are the two sex hormones?
Testosterone.
In males and in females, it's your estrogen and progesterone, okay? So those sex hormones, when you hit puberty, they accelerate the activity of your bone cells, but not the cartilage, you see? So that there is increased activity of this one, not this one. It's still the same rate, still dividing, but same rate. So eventually, it's not able to keep up. You see that? So it closes. So instead of a plate, you're left with a line. You're done growing. You understand? Normally, males are taller than females because estrogen accelerates the activity of this one faster than testosterone. So it reaches the closure of the growth plate faster than males. Okay? That's why, look at this one. You can tell which one is a child and which one is an adult. See? Bone is opaque, and there's that radiolucent. See, that's the growth plate. I know this is a child. And look at, no more growth plate. I know this is an adult. So if you ever get fractured and there's a break, will you compromise the growth of this one? Yes. You break, this one is done growing. And that's why you will see some people, right? Like I always remember my student at Pierce College, she fractured her, she's a gymnast, and she fractured her femur at the growth plate when she was 16. So this one still grows, but this one no. So she walks like that, see? Because this will still keep growing. This one no more. We sever that connection. Okay? You understand how you grow? You understand the difference between intramembranous and endochondral.
And they can't do anything with stem cells yet to
Once it's broken, it's broken. So yes.
Okay. Question about the cartilage. What's the difference between hyaline and the bone we have at the end? Yeah, so one thing is so
They're one and the same. They're both hyaline cartilage. But the hyaline cartilage here, because it's the one that protects you when you have, right here at the articulation, a joint is called articulation. So you just name it articular
a
cartilage.
classification.
Yes. Okay? Okay? So you have any questions so far? You understand intramembranous. You understand endochondral. It's just what is bone replacing. If it's here, you say intramembranous. If it's in your the rest of your skeleton, you just say endochondral ossification. Yes.
And so you said when the puberty hits and the sex hormones are released, what is it that can't keep up with the production? You said they couldn't keep up.
No,
with it, so it stops.
the sex hormones, they accelerate the activity of your the cells, the bone cells, not the chondrocytes. So the chondrocytes, their rate of cell division is not affected, still constant. But now the bone cells accelerated. So what do you think? It will eventually run out of chondrocytes to replace, right? Right here. Okay? Okay. So now that we have studied bone formation, let's see. What factors affect bone then? Bone maintenance, bone growth. You think you're done? Once the bone, you have reached your potential, you think that bone is done? No, right? It's a living tissue. Don't forget that. It's participating in your calcium homeostasis. So there's a few factors. That's why now you understand why pregnancy. This is just one. You're looking at one feature or one tiny part of the responsibility of the mother when she's pregnant. Where do you think is the baby going to get her ingredients to make bone? So it starts at pregnancy. You have, never mind. I'm not going to talk about that because we're jumping to the end of this book. Okay, so look at. Do you agree hereditary also affects bone, right? So some people, it's in your genes. You be tall, you be short. It's in your genes. Okay. Nutrition. Let's look at nutrition. What will you advise your patients for healthy bones? Supplements. What supplement? Vitamin D and calcium. Okay. Vitamin D and calcium. Very good. You understand why, right? What else are you going to tell them?
Protein.
Protein, very good in their diet because why? Collagen, right? Collagen is the main component. So, you know what? Vitamin C, right? C for collagen. I'll ask you that in the test, right? Why is it that people who recover from a fracture, they're advised to uh, take high doses or extra vitamin C supplements? Just think C for collagen. C is very important for collagen synthesis. And D for calcium. Your B complex vitamins. Isn't this for your for your energy?
Yeah.
B complex? And isn't it when you're maybe healing from a fracture, isn't that increased metabolism? Don't you need energy? So you need your B complex. So we have your protein. You said water, we need water too, right? It's 25% or at least. Some books say 33. Okay. How about hormones? What hormone we just discussed? Growth hormone. Yes, very good. I'm thinking growth hormone, right? That's the one. That's the one that tells your bones to grow, isn't it? That's why I think that's why if you remember, or with me, I remember when I was little, they would always after lunch they say take a nap, right? Why do you tell your kids to take a nap? So you can check your phone messages. Yes. No, you tell them to take their afternoon naps to take advantage of growth. Growth hormone, we know growth hormone targets bone. And growth hormone is secreted in spurts. And there's increased levels of secretion of growth hormone for some reason when you take your daytime naps. Of course, it's too late for me. I'm old. So with the kids, so you want to take advantage of that. Make them have their daytime naps so that growth hormone is secreted. And we know that when it's high, it's going to the bone. It's telling it to grow. What other hormones? Have you heard of thyroid hormones? You know thyroid hormones?
T3 and T4.
What is that for? What are your thyroid hormones? What did you say? Yes. What do thyroid hormones do for you? Yes, very good. Metabolism, very good, right? If your thyroid hormones are low, you just don't have energy, right? So that's your metabolism. And don't you need metabolism? High metabolism when you're growing. So I suspect you need that. Exercise. So it says there, stress, your weight-bearing exercise, even walking is good. So the reason why we like this weight-bearing exercise is the resistance exercise actually stresses your osteoblasts So we know that osteoblasts be for build bones. So they get annoyed. And so they start when they get annoyed, they make bone. So that's why we want to do we do the weight bearing exercise. And I think it's very sad how now there's a lot of computer games that the kids they sit down for hours and hours and hours. They forget the exercise. Plus, while they're doing the games, they're drinking their soda. So they end up with osteoporosis. See, because bone is a living tissue. Again, at the expense of you cannot afford to have abnormal calcium. It will just keep leaching to make sure the blood still has normal calcium levels. Okay? You understand? So, bone is never done. Like you had your fracture. So, I'm sure you've had your fracture maybe in your adult years. And look at it still got healed. So, we will finish up on our the rest of this chapter on Thursday after the lecture. I want you to use the rest of the time period looking at your slides, okay? Be comfortable. And then on next week, one more round of histology so that you will be prepared for your first lab exam. But first lecture test on Thursday, don't forget, okay? That's the first thing.